My life is like a video game, trying hard to.
Hey guys, I'm Curtis, and today I'm going to be talking to you about gaming culture. First thing I'm going to talk about is the nature and circumstance of how gaming culture came to be. Then I'm going to talk to you about my role in the culture and the other roles in the culture. Finally, I'm going to tell you about the different props and resources you're going to need to fulfill my role and the different kind of rituals that we do in my role. Alright, and without further ado, let's get started. Now, gaming culture is crazy huge, so I'm just going to give a brief synopsis so as not to take up too much time. Now, during all this, there are still arcade games and computer games coming out, which then turns video gaming culture into a large branching tree that just kind of never stops. But since the computer gaming and arcade gaming branches kind of just go their own way and stay the way they are, let's just focus on the home gaming. Video gaming as a culture didn't really blow up until 1975 when Atari released Pong on its first gaming system, the Odyssey. Meanwhile, ColecoVision was in the process of putting out their first system, and thus the console race was born. Atari and ColecoVision pretty much ruled the market until Nintendo releases their Nintendo Entertainment System, or later known as the NES, into American and Japanese markets. After that, in 1986, Sega releases their own console to compete with Nintendo. Then, in 1989, Nintendo releases the Game Boy, which explodes the mobile market side of gaming. In 1991, Nintendo releases the Super Nintendo. After that, in 1995, Sony releases its first game console called the Sony PlayStation in tandem with Nintendo's release of the Nintendo 64. In the year 2000, Sony releases its second console called the PlayStation 2, followed immediately the next year in 2001 by Nintendo's newest console, the GameCube, and Microsoft's first console, the Xbox. 2005, Microsoft releases its next console, the Xbox 360, which is followed earlier the next year by Nintendo's Wii and Sony's PlayStation 3. Which brings us to the current generation of gaming consoles with Sony's PlayStation 4, Xbox's newest Xbox One, and Nintendo's Wii U. Now gaming culture is so huge that it has spawned many community events, charity events, and even some churches. Now that we know the history and kind of where gaming culture came from and how it is now, let's start talking about the role that I play in this culture. Now, at first glance, my role probably doesn't make any sense to most of you, but that's because, just like gaming culture in itself, there's a million roles you could play in it. There's just so many categories that you can't even count them. So let's just break down what my role really means. The well-rounded part kind of just refers to my view on games in general. Like, I will play anything. I really like console games. I play a lot of Nintendo DS and mobile games. Angry Birds is fun, even though it's kind of dumb. I play a lot of PC games. I'm just all around. I play everything. The min-maxer part is kind of harder to understand. In the gaming world, a min-maxer is someone who wants to get the most bang for their buck on the characters and the game that they play. In a game like Skyrim, where a character has certain stats and abilities, I'm going to want to play to the fullest extent and get all those stats and abilities to their highest level. That way I can get the most out of that character. The same goes for any kind of game. I remember back in 2002 when I was kind of just a little kid, I had a spreadsheet on how to most effectively breed piñatas in Viva Piñata. As it is now, every game has some kind of aspect to it that the more you play it, the more you're going to get out of it. Like in Assassin's Creed 4, the more you play the ship missions, the bigger your fleet gets, and you're going to see more of this when we get to the ritual part. But that's really what my role is about, is just getting the most out of my character, getting the most bang for my buck in the time I spend in a game. If I can play a game for 2 hours and have no impact on anything, then I'm not going to play it. There aren't too many specifications on what you can and can't do in your culture. For example, you can dress how you want, work wherever you want to work, you can have any kind of education level, drive whatever you want to drive, be a part of whatever religion you feel like being a part of. The only thing that's really expected of a min-maxer is that they probably don't have much of a social life. And you're probably not going to have that many other hobbies besides gaming. Your weekends are probably going to be spent gaming anyway. And the friends that you have, much like anyone you want to date, are going to have to understand that you put a lot of time into the games that you play and that it's probably gonna take up a lot of your own personal time, so you won't be able to hang out and chill with them as much. You're probably only going to be able to date anybody who understands what you're doing. So you're looking for someone in gaming culture that shares your views on gaming and kind of values the time that you spend playing it. Not as much as you, obviously, but enough to, understand the goal that you're trying to achieve. Simply because of the fact that they put so much time into the games they play. Now that we understand my role and kind of what I do, let's get into the different resources and props that you need to fulfill my role. First thing you're going to need is patience, which kind of goes hand in hand with free time, because you're going to need a lot of it. In order to be an effective min-maxer, you've got to put in a lot of time into the games you play to get the aspect of the game that you're working on into its perfect form. Now in some games, that could mean devoting an entire day just to playing a game, and in some cases that could mean putting days, weeks, or even months of game time just into a single game. So as you can imagine, patience and free time is somewhat of a necessity. You're also going to need really thick skin. When you're playing video games online, you can run into a lot of different situations with a lot of immature people. For instance, you could just be minding your own business, playing Minecraft, and all of a sudden you see something weird in the chat. When something like this happens, you can't let it get under your skin and freak out. Otherwise, you'll get upset. You really just kind of have to take it in stride and just understand that they're just trying to get a rise out of you, so you just leave it be and move on. Now that we understand the resources that you need to fulfill my role, let's go over some of the props. The first thing you're going to need is some kind of mobile gaming device or your phone so that you can play games like Pokemon and Angry Birds. The second thing you're going to need is a console from this current generation so you can play games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. You're also going to need a headset so that you can listen to all the 13-year-olds online tell you how bad you are at video games. Finally, you're going to need a PC because it's the bestest thing to play video games on in the whole wide world. And of course, no gamer would be complete without copious and copious amounts of Mountain Dew. Now let's look at some of the other roles that exist in gaming culture. Now, my role in gaming culture is pretty self-sufficient, and you don't really rely on anybody else to support what you do. So instead, I'm just going to talk about a couple of my favorite roles in gaming culture other than my own. The first role I want to talk about is the self-loathing mobile gamer. Now, the self-loathing mobile gamer is someone who acts like this. Oh my god, why do you even play those stupid things? Video games are the stupidest thing on the planet. But oh my god, what's your high score on Flappy Bird? Needless to say, these people think video games are for idiots, even though they're playing some of the most idiotic games on the planet. Maybe I should just call these roles hypocrites. But anyway, on to the next role. Another role that exists in gaming culture is the FPS junkie. For those of you that don't know, FPS stands for first person shooter. First person shooters are games like Call of Duty, Battlefield. My favorite thing about this role is the fact that they think they're so superior despite how simple the game really is. Oh my god, no you didn't, you stupid little kid, shut up. Hey dude. Yeah dude, what's up? Wanna play like Minecraft or something? No, I don't wanna play that stupid game. The game's for babies. Not really, dude. Game's actually really fun. You should try it. Whatever, dude. You're a pussy. Just come play COD like a real man. Idiot. There's little to no thinking involved at all. You point gun at thing, you pull trigger, and hopefully it dies. The last role I'm going to go over is the PC elitist. PC elitist think the end-all be-all way to play games is on a PC, and that any other game played on any other platform is a game made for a bunch of mindless chimps. And they look a little something like this. Hey man. Hey man, what's going on? What you doing? Not much, just playing COD. Dude, this looks terrible. You should totally play this on PC. It's so much better. What? Yeah, dude, you should totally buy a PC and play it on that. Dude, we would mob together, it'd be crazy.
I'm not gonna buy a PC just so I can play COD with you. Dude, if you're not playing this on the PC, you're basically just playing a stupid, dumbed-down version of the game. Only real players play on a PC.
While I do agree with them that gaming on a PC is a lot funner, I understand that everyone has their own personal preference of how they play their games. And when it all comes down to it, the more people playing the more games, the better for our culture, which is something they just don't understand. Now for the last part of this video, I like to go over some of the clear conventionalized performances or rituals that I do as a well-rounded min-maxer. One of the things I like to do as a min-maxer is take characters in games like World of Warcraft and of course bring them to their highest quality. And in order to make them the best characters, you have to go to these things called raids. This ritual that I do day after day is called raiding.
Now, the first step to raiding is getting a bunch of really awesome snacks that you can have on hand so you don't have to leave your seat because you're going to be here for a few hours at the very least. You're going to want things like McDonald's, pretzels, and if you get thirsty, you're going to want something you can drink out of the jug, like Tampico, the poor man's Sunny D. Then, you got to tell all your friends that I can't do anything or even leave my chair for the next 3 hours. Hey dude, do you want to go to the park? We're gonna have a frisbee tournament. Sorry, bro. I can't have friends right now. I'm raiding. Now that you're set up with all your snacks, you can actually go and raid.
Now the first step to raiding is actually just logging into the game and then getting on the character that you want to go raid on, which is just pick from a list. Once you actually get into the game, you're going to go into the top right, look into your calendar to see if your buddies have scheduled any raids in the upcoming week. But if there's nothing, just close out of that and look for a chat to see when the raids are scheduled. Once you're finally into the raid with all your friends, you're going to start killing stuff, and then killing some more stuff, until you get to the boss, which has the potential to drop loot. And the loot is what you're really aiming for because that's what makes your character good. If when the boss dies, he actually does give you loot, then hooray for you. Now that you have that loot, you need to take it to a gear optimizer to make it more suitable for the character that you're playing on. Keep in mind, this is what you have to do for every piece of gear that you get, otherwise your character won't ever reach his full potential, which is what we min-maxers do, and that's how we play the game. Now that that's all done, you just have to do it 14 more times for every single boss in the current raid tier. And it takes forever. Then you've got to do it with every single one of your characters every single week until they all have the best gear.
Now that the raids are all over and you've got your gear, you can have fun and have a social life. Hey dude, I'm done raiding now. Do you want to hang out? Oh wait, I forgot it's 1 a.m. on a Wednesday night. I guess I'll see you in class tomorrow night. As you can imagine, doesn't go over so well, so you're probably just gonna go to sleep.
And before I end the video, I just want to quickly go over the costs and benefits of being a min-maxer in gaming culture. Being a min-maxer really is just self-defeating, because no matter how many hours you put into a game and trying to get a character to be the best it is, it's inevitably gonna be outdated and really not accomplishing anything in the end. Now you might be thinking to yourself, but Curtis, then why do you do it? Well, I'll tell you why. Because regardless of how many times I have to keep getting a character to the max level or getting its stats maxed up again, it's really just about the journey and how fun it is to play it all again. Even if I have to play, 6-7 times, every time is going to be different and it's going to be fun regardless of how I play it. And to me, if you're not playing the game to have fun and the journey that you're going through, then why bother playing it at all? Alright guys, that's the end of my video on gaming culture and the role I play in it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Trying hard to beat the stage, all while I am still collecting coins. Up, up, down, down, left, right, left.